Short selling, also known as shorting, is not very popular among Indian retail investors. You know the meaning of selling, but do you know the meaning of short selling? Short selling means you sell a stock but you don't own that stock. I know what you are thinking. Oh my god, selling something which I don't even own? Is this a scam? Let's look into it. What is short selling? Short selling or shorting is defined as selling a stock in the share market which the seller doesn't own at the time of trade with the hope of buying it back later at a lower price and thus making a profit. It is a sell first buy later format which appears to be somewhat counterintuitive. How can you sell something that you don't own? Well, you borrow. Before getting into the borrowing mechanics, let's take a closer look at buying first, sell later or going long, sell first, buy later or shorting, buy first, sell later or going long. When a trader or investor believes that the price of a stock is expected to rise in the share market, he or she will buy the stock with the hope of selling it later at a higher price and thus pocketing the profit. While this is fairly intuitive, an illustrated trade fortifies the mechanics. Let us assume that you buy an Asian Paint stock for 1000 rupees. Let's say Asian Paint stock moves up to 1500 rupees and you sell it. You make a profit of 500 rupees. A short seller on the other hand is making an opposite bet. Sell first, buy later or shorting. When a trader or investor believes that the price of the stock is expected to decline in the share market, he or she will sell the stock first with the hope of buying it back later at a lower price and thus pocketing the profit. Let's assume that you short an Asian Paint stock for 1000 rupees. Let's say Asian Paint stock moves down to 500 rupees and you buy it, then you make a profit of 500 rupees. Here is why shorting gets somewhat dark. The trader or investor doesn't own the stock in the first place. So how can he or she sell first? The answer to this was mentioned earlier. The trader or investor borrows the stock from the exchange, example Zerodha or Upstocks, who in turn borrows from the clearinghouse or from a client portfolio. Why does shorting increase your risk profile? Shorting comes with a meaningful risk implications and in that context tends to attract increased regulatory oversight. Let's understand the unique risk profile that shorting carries. However, this time we'll assume that things don't go as per our plan. Again, let's assume that you short an Asian Paint stock for 1000 rupees. Let's say Asian Paint stock moves up and keeps moving up. Your potential losses are infinite if there is no upper limit for the stock price. Compare this to the less riskier, normal selling where you buy an Asian Paint stock for 1000 rupees. Asian Paint stock moves down to 0 rupees. Your loss is capped at 1000 rupees, 0 being the lowest possible stock price. The uncapped and potentially unlimited loss profile associated with shorting is what makes it such a risky proposition. You don't want to be left holding an obligation to give back the stock to the clearinghouse, the one you borrowed and shorted while the price keeps going up. Sebi short selling rules in India. In India, a key regulatory restriction associated with shorting is that the trader or investor shorting a stock is mandated to buy back the shares and by default exit the position at the time of settlement. That is before the stock market closing, which is around 3:15 pm. Your shorting position is restricted to 1 day, a substantial limitation for a bearish bet. Unless you short via derivative products like futures or options, which is a separate complicated category. I hope you understood the meaning of short selling. In my next video, I will share an interesting story on how Dhirubhai Ambani gave a hard reply by knocking out people who were short selling Reliance stocks and crashing its price. Do watch my other videos, subscribe for more finance and informative videos, like, comment and share. Be the wise rabbit. Thank you.